Welcome back to this Axion channel. So we're going to look at the official white paper and have a little walkthrough and hopefully answer any of your questions as we go. Reading these white papers sometimes can be a little intimidating depending on your level of knowledge of cryptocurrency. So let's go into it. So it's a global currency designed to serve people. A community built, full transparency and high interest yielding currency. So fantastic, let's get straight into it. So an introduction to Axion. So Axion is a decentralized certificate of deposit system operating similarly to the same financial instrument provided by banks or cutting out the middleman. Axion generates interest directly to the network participants through fixed inflation. Right, so that's really the heart of it. Through time locking Axion tokens, people can earn more interest than ever before in history in a system built for scalability. So basically, time locking means that you're going to stake your tokens, that is, lock them away, and in return you're going to get some interest for that. And the system is designed for scalability, so more people would come onto it, so it can handle large volumes and new forms of income as well. Unlike traditional currency with Axion, your purchasing power increases over time, right? And the time of writing the global certificate of deposit market (CD) has a $7 trillion market capitalization. So you can see it's very large scale and blockchain's just entering this area. Axion plans to absorb a portion of that market by providing an optimized system with higher returns. And so this, the carrot here is higher returns. The answer to a broken financial system. So Axion is the answer to our global financial markets that are on the brink of disaster. The original solution to this impending collapse was Bitcoin, a decentralized peer-to-peer currency. However, since its exception, certain aspects of Bitcoin, such as a lack of speed and high fees, have shifted Bitcoin into more of a store of value than a currency. Axion is that currency. So Axion is an optimized fork of Hex cryptocurrency. So if you're not familiar with Hex, Hex launched in November last year and has been extremely successful. Now it's worth $1.1 billion. And that is structured differently to Axion, but Axion has taken that and added features which it feels will benefit the stakeholders more. So just to give you some background to that. So in Hex, 100% of Ethereum and the adoption amplifier, so the adoption amplifier is an auction, goes to the pockets of the founder. So more correctly, that goes to the origin wallet of Hex. So it's speculation that it's the founder, but we'll move on from there. In Axion, 80% of Ethereum spent in the daily auctions runs through an automated smart contract is immediately used to purchase Axion tokens, boosting the price. And this is a wonderful feature, right? So this is really great. So instead of the Ethereum, 100% of Ethereum going to auction for Hex to the origin address or the founder, whoever it might be, that actually 80% of the Ethereum is actually going to go back to the stakeholders, the people that own the tokens and staking. So it's brilliant. So a very attractive element. So one thing here is that this would be a centralized system and this would be a decentralized system. So over time, it'll be interesting to see how those operate. But naturally, as an incentive to an individual, this is very exciting, the boosting of price through the Ethereum. These tokens are then distributed trustlessly to stakers. This in itself increases staking rewards drastically compared to Hex and increases the value of Axion simultaneously. Once the auction is live, we anticipate to be using millions of dollars exclusively for buy pressure daily. And this is wonderful, so it's going to be a great reason to get on board with Axion. In Hex, nearly 50% of late claims and early unstake penalties go to the pockets of the founder, or origin wallet in this case. In Axion, 100% of all late claim and early unstake penalties go to the stakers. So that's another great upside. So you can see that Hex has been tweaked here to benefit the individuals, and it removes basically a central wallet. Axion's inflation rate is 8%, double that of Hex. So Hex is 3.69 plus a little extra in circumstances. This means that stakers are rewarded even more in comparison to non-stakers. Right? So the heart of this project is about stakers and rewarding stakers. Okay, so great inflation for stakers, and as you'll see later, there are penalties for unstaking stronger than Hex actually. There are 5 big day paydays in Axion. instead of only one in the HEX ecosystem. So HEX only has one, which is coming up on November the 19th, 2020. This will have 5 every year. It's widely understood that after HEX's one and only big payday, that's BPD, there will be mass inflation and mass selling. So what happens in big payday is that the price to earn shares will rocket because it's based on the return on investment of the latest unstaker. So big people unstaking will get massive rewards on big payday. The share rate will rock. The share price will rocket, and so it costs more to get hold of the shares. So it'll be interesting to see this play out too. Our system mitigates both these by splitting big payday over 5 years, allowing for longevity. All right, so they're going to be lower big paydays. So big payday mass inflation is because you'll probably get 200 to 300+% returns, which is going to increase the share rate. Whereas this one here is going to have lower. It's going to split it over 5 years, but have lower percentages, and we'll see more about that later. Early unstake penalties are more severe in Axion, and this is a great feature to really lock in the stakers, because that's what you want. You want to take off a lot of the supply off the market as possible, ensuring that once members stake, they will stay staked. This increases the stability of the circulating supply and helps to increase the price of Axion further. Axion is the next evolution of HEX, built by community for community. Alright, so development teams, Rock and Block team will be working on Axion, so now you know who the developers are. Rock and Block, R&B, previously created mywish.io, which is really great. If you haven't been on that, you can set up your own smart contracts. It's really quite neat. Partner of Binance, Neo RSE, Swapsnet Network, and participated in HEX money development. So Axion features better staking. Axion inflation rate is 8%, so this is the real key that you want to be finding out about. Roughly double that of HEX. All tokens purchased throughout buybacks are distributed directly to stakers. This will increase the staking reward dramatically. 100% of inflation is paid out to stakers, and stakers earn proportional to their stake. Alright, so you'll be staking, but obviously there'll be a whole ton of other people staking, so you'll earn proportional in relative terms to them. Okay, so just remember that. The daily auctions, and this is going to be the heart of the platform, which is about to launch in the next week or two. Should the hack and audit go perfectly well, and it appears that way at this stage. Every day, users can bid Ethereum into the daily auction pool to purchase Axion. How much Axion they earn is directly proportional to how much they put in compared to the rest of the pool. Alright, so if you put in $10 and other people put in $990, that would be $1,000 worth that goes in, so you'll get that 1%. If you put in 10% of Ethereum for that day, you'll earn 10% of the Axion pool. So Axion in the auction pool comes from unclaimed Axion, okay? So this is the where it's coming from. Every week, HEX or HEX2T holder wait to claim the Axion. 2% of their balance is added to the auction pool, alright? Early HEX and late withdrawal fees. If you end your stake ahead of the committed time period, you pay a penalty that goes to the auction pool, okay? If you don't withdraw after your stake is completed, you pay a penalty that goes to the auction pool. Alright? So very important that you know these features. Now, free claims for X holders. So if you're holding HEX tokens, you can do a free claim. While the two projects are not officially affiliated, we applaud HEX for their innovation of certificate of deposits and bringing this financial instrument to the cryptocurrency. While HEX may have been the first mover in this specific application, we saw that there was inequality in the HEX system in regards to both staking rewards and the ETH auctions. In the interest of transparency and community-centric ideals, our system fixes the problems we have identified and puts the community above all else. Axion tokens will be able to be claimed at a 1-to-1 ratio by all HEX holders and all HEX2T holders. HEX holders, 100% of free claimed Axion will be auto-staked, okay? So 100% of your free claim will be auto-staked with 2% releasing weekly, okay? This means if you withdraw on day 8, you will get 2% of your Axion claim. 98% then goes into the daily auction pool. Just to see how that works. If you withdraw early, the rest of your tokens immediately go to the auction pool. So basically it's best for maximum returns to keep them for a long time, alright? Particularly up to a year. X2T holders, there will be 0% auto staked. Okay, so if you buy that on Uniswap at the moment, you will get 0 auto stakes. It means that you have full flexibility to unstake. So that's pretty cool. The Axion roadmap, so the future ahead. X2T token is launched, so May the 29th, 2020. X2T token was swapped on Uniswap, so that's where you can buy it right now. I'll leave the link below in this video description. Development of Axion begins, and then open source GitHub repo went live on June 2020. Obviously we're in September now. Axion staking interface completed, so August 2020 that was completed, so that's last month. Mainnet conversion, 1 Hex 2T to 1 Axion, so that's coming up. And daily auction goes live, so these two are imminent. Alright, Axion listed on larger exchanges, so these two will go together. It's imminent. Axion listed on larger exchanges, so these three will go together probably in September. So we're getting pretty close because it's already getting towards the end of September. Ecosystem additions, there'll be other businesses creating other utility value for the ecosystem. So let's get into an Axion deep dive. The background: the world of banking finance has not changed for the last 50 years. Plagued by centralization and control by central authorities, banking are nothing more than structures by which the government institutions track the flow of money of their citizens. While banks are needed for modern civilization to function, today's banking of today's currencies are based purely on faith and trust. Take, for example, the US dollar. Every dollar used to be backed by the gold reserves, but now that system is antiquated. Today, the US dollar is backed by nothing but trust in the US economic system. As we've seen over the last few months of coronavirus economic stimulus policies, the dollar and interest rates can be manipulated by the Federal Reserve without any accountability. The economics of cryptocurrency. So you can look at that. The rise of cryptocurrency has grown exponentially over the last 3 years as a result of the realization that decentralized, transparent, and distributed systems can be the replacement for an archaic banking system that has not experienced any innovation. While many people have profited immensely from this revolution, many have been scammed through the exchange hacking and coins which are nothing more than pump and dump schemes where prices use quickly and drop even faster in a short period of time. As a result, people have sought other ways to get into the crypto space in a more stable manner, mining and staking. And I think this is just maturing right now. So if you've been in the last couple of years, you would have seen lots of pump and dump schemes and no real value around the systems. Whereas now we're getting far more better products like Axion. Mining may not be accessible to everybody as it requires large initial investment into expensive GPUs, which are upwards of $300 and consume copious amounts of electricity. Since Bitcoin is a decentralized network not regulated by a single authority, networks of computers with GPUs are used to verify transactions to make sure they are valid. That's the main heart of a blockchain. As a result of this verification, which is quite computationally intensive, miners reward a block reward in the form of a sliver of Bitcoin, whenever new transactions are added to the blockchain. However, because the block reward is halved every 4 years and the price of Bitcoin is currently stabilized, Bitcoin mining is currently not profitable unless performed by a massive warehouse-like scale. The second way to get more stable income sources through staking, and is the basis of how Axion generates its interest. So staking pays users who commit their coins to the Axion smart contract for a period of time, which is to be measured in the unit of days. When one stakes Axion coins, she will not have access to withdraw those coins, so it's very important to remember, during this time, but at the end of the staking period, they will receive his or her coins and added interest. The system works by the idea that the longer one stakes, the more money he or she will get through bonuses for being a longer term staker. And that's really the heart, staking for a long term and maxing out all the interest and bonuses. So all of these calculations are done automatically and securely on the blockchain, so they are safe and cannot be manipulated by bad actors. And of course, the Axion contracts being audited at the moment, so that gives added confidence. So the Axion economics, Axion generates interest through the idea of inflation. The Axion smart contract doesn't pay out Axion from its reserves to reward stakers randomly, but on 5 basic principles. So this is very much important to take this into account. This is how you earn money. The amount of Axion staked by a user will determine how much you get. The total amount of Axion staked by everyone else will determine how much you get. The period for which the user staked the Axion will determine how much you get. So the longer pays better rule applies, and obviously the larger pays better rule applies. So that's that one there. The Axion flat inflation rate, which is 8%, which is compounded daily, so you get compounded. Outstanding. The amount of Ethereum paid into the auction daily. All right. So Axion was inspired by the success of Hex, having eclipsed a $1 billion market cap within 4 months. So this is some of the aspirations that you can have for this project, and there's nothing stopping Hex from continuing to rocket up with the right gamification. And that's true for Axion as well. Axion sits at a $4 million market cap at the time of the writing of this, and is growing at an exponential rate. We decided to take some of the factors behind the success of Hex and make it less founder focused. So I believe the market cap at the moment is about $50 million. Sorry. Rather than rewarding the founder more for the success of Hex, we want to reward the community and stakers. Axion is designed to be a system where you can park your money and have it grow at an incredibly fast rate. So very exciting, folks. So Axion versus Hex. So we previously talked about that earlier. So here's a bit more of a deep dive. Here are the main points behind the differences between Axion and Hex. For every staking period, 80% of Ethereum amount that is used to purchase Axion in the daily auctions is used to buy back Axion tokens from exchanges, which are then distributed to stakers in proportion to their stakes. This will lead to a boost in price and will give higher incentives to stakers. Axion has double the inflation of Hex, 8% versus 3.69%. This leads to twice the ROI alone for Axion. 100% of inflation is paid out to Axion holders and can be seen completely transparent on the blockchain. 100% of all token penalties, so there's another form of income, are paid out to stakers, unlike Hex where only 50% of penalties go to stakers and the other 50% goes to the founder or the origin addresses. The founder owns no tokens. Yes, the founder owns no tokens in Axion. There is no fear of being dumped, exit scammed, or getting too late for Axion. So how does the founder get money here? See below. Axion adoption. Axion has accelerated adoption by welcoming Hex holders to the Axion ecosystem. So this is how to scale the system. Hex holders will be able to free claim Axion at a 1-to-1 ratio for every Hex they hold or have staked, but that must have been on the snapshot address of the Hex wallets, which was the 12th of May 2020. So this is capped at 10 million Axion per holder. Anything over 10 million goes to the auction pool, so that's good to know. There's a lot of Hex value in terms of Axion going to the auction pool. To get their free Axion, Hex holders need to manually claim Axion tokens. Every week, these coins go unclaimed. The amount of coins that an individual can claim reduces by 2%, so that's really good to know. These coins then go into an auction where the people can bid them. 80% of the Ethereum amount used to bid for the Axion from the daily auction is used to buy back more tokens from the exchange, as like expressed above, and founder receives the other 20% of the bid as compensation here. This is a unique format for compensation for the founder and shows that only as a result of long-term success of the project can the founder reap his or her capital appreciation. Axion is one of the first projects of its kind to not have a founder-owned tokens, have a proven precursor concept in Hex, a strong community focus. The mission of Axion is to give a product to the community to grow their capital by compounding it with interest. The fundamentals behind Axion are meant to create a unique product for the community and flip users from the original Hex to Axion so they can grow their finances even faster than before. Hex snapshot for free claims is very important. If you hold Hex, Axion will be able to be free claim 1-to-1 ratio to all existing participants in the ecosystem, the Hex ecosystem that is. Participants are identified as Ethereum addresses which hold Hex or have burnt their Hex in lieu of shares. Hearts are just small components of Hex, the Hex shares. The claim will be in the ratio of 1-to-1. So each Hex or heart held by the wallet will result in a claim of single Axion subject to certain conditions mentioned in the document below. Since Hex is a transferable token, a snapshot on a preset record date, which was the 12th of May 2020, would be used to identify accounts applicable for free claim and the amount of Axion to be set out for claim. Via bonus, like longer pays better, users typically get more heart shares than the Hex they put up. So we have assumed that total claimable Axion will be the summation of Hex in users' wallets and the hearts shares obtained by the users by staking their hex. The Axion Snapshot contract will record the state of the hex and heart holders as a preset record date. The snapshot will record the quantity of hex and heart associated with each address. This will enable the contract to record all addresses which have had a balance of hex token and heart along with the quantity. This record shall not be a part of the smart contract, but shall be referenced from the smart contract along with the proof. Pre-launch. The following information will be made public for complete transparency. The snapshot of the hex and share heart balances with wallet references. In case of major discrepancies, the platform might redo the snapshot. The code for generating the Merkle tree and top hash. This hash will be recorded on the smart contract. So that's for more technical people. Record period. There will be a 15 days notice period for the snapshot. For example, if a notification is delivered on X date, snapshot will be recorded on X plus 15. A note, a change in the hex holding between the snapshot date and the claim shall not affect the claim amount. So that's already been done, of course, the 12th of May 2020. I'll leave a link to the snapshot below. Claim mechanism. Post-record data. When the claim processed will initiate, users will need to log in with the same account, private key, by which their hex and heart shares balances have been computed. Axion will be minted into that particular wallet only. So that's how you're going to get your claim on the day that the platform launches. The following claim tool will be available on the Axion D app for users to have easy access. So auto-staking for free claimed hex. For all free claimed tokens, the contract immediately stakes 100% of the claimed Axion for a minimum duration of 350 days. Okay, so if you're free claiming, no auto-staking is applicable to Axion tokens claimed from burning hex 2T. Alright, so imagine there's two inputs, there's hex 2T and there's hex. So that's the way it is, and the output is Axion tokens, which will be used for staking on the platform. Early unstake penalty for free claimed Axion. Each week, 2% of the free claimed Axion is unlocked for unstaking. If a user withdraws early, the remaining amount is penalised as early unstake penalty. Okay, the penalty tokens are sent to the auction pool, which we know is one of the ways the auctions gets Axion to auction. Example: A has 100 a free claimed Axion, which get auto locked for 350 days. Okay, so it's 100 free claimed Axion that gets locked for 350 days. If the person A aims to withdraw the free claimed Axion before the end of week 1, for example, right at the beginning, 100% amount will be penalised, so there's no point in doing that, right? If person A aims to withdraw the free claimed Axion after 7 days, then that's 1 week. 2% of the payout, the principal plus payout by staking will be claimed, and 98% will be penalised and go to the auction. A user can't unstake partially, which means that if one wishes to unstake, then the whole amount gets unstaked. Okay, so it's very critical. So I love this feature, how they're enforcing staking, so that staking percentage will be really high. The penalties that are levied on that. Such penalties for a particular day are also added to the auction pool for the next day, part of the late claim penalty. So you're going to see some interesting fluctuations in the auction pool with the amount available. Late Axion claim penalty. There's a late claim penalty for users which are late to their claim for free claim Axion. Axion claimers lose 2% of their claimable amount every week. Their Axion goes unclaimed. So this really helps people to claim up front and get the users onboarded right at the beginning. This rate continues for 50 weeks until 100% of their claimable amounts is penalised. So at that point, there would be no point. There'd be nothing to claim. Calculations: late penalty equals 1 minus the days since the free claim. All right. This 2% weekly penalty is sent to the auction pool. Okay, free claimed Axion examples. Let's have a look at some examples. The user has a claim of about 100 Axion post free claim start date. So free claim start date, they will get 100 times 1, no late claim penalty equals 100 Axion. All right. So they come in on day 1, they'll only get 99.7 Axion. They come in on day 51, they'll only get 85. Come in on day 200 of day 350, they'll get 42. If they come in on the last day, day 350, they'll get no Axion for their free claim. Okay, so that's pretty easy to follow. The maximum Axion claim per hex wallet is 10 million hex. All right, some of the early people in hex have very large wallets in the tens of millions and hundreds of millions. So this limits whales. One can't claim any more Axion than their hex over 10 million limit. Hex inclusive of hearts over the 10 million limit per wallet will be utilised for the daily auctions and put in the auction pool. So there's going to be some interesting auction fluctuations. Unlike early late penalties that will be spread out over 7 days, any extra tokens will all go into the auction for a single day. One day each week we will have a mega auction. That's fantastic. So that's a special feature of the auction is mega auctions. Presale, there's 250 billion Hex2T available for free presale. They are currently trading at Uniswap against Ethereum, okay? They're currently trading. So that's where you can buy them if you want to buy them, and I'll leave the link below for buying Hex2T on Uniswap. And you'll need those to claim your Axion when the platform launches, which is imminent in the next week or two, most likely. So conversion to Axion, Hex2T token holders will be able to claim the Axion via the built-in claim tool. So this is to be launched in the platform launches very soon. Available on the Axion DApp website. Post go live, Hex2T token holders will burn their Hex2T token, okay? So once you've got it in your wallet now, or if you bought it on Uniswap, you will end up burning it. And in exchange, you will get the Axion token. It's very important that you understand that in a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you've got 1,000 Hex2T, you'll get 1,000 Axion tokens. Unlike Axion claimed in exchange for Hex, 0% of the Axion claimed in exchange for Hex2T will be auto-staked, and they will be directly transferred to the holder's wallet, okay? So if you've got Hex, they will be auto-staked, all right? Whereas if you've got Hex2T that you've claimed for Axion, it will go into your wallet. Late Hex2T claim penalty, just like late claims for free claimed Axion, there is also a late claim penalty for users which are late to their claim to claim their Hex2T converted Axion. All right, so the same principle applies to Hex and applies to Hex2T. Such Axion claimers also lose 2% of their claimable amount every week the Axion goes unclaimed. As days progress and come close to day 350, the penalty increases till the claim amount becomes 0. All right. So there's the calculation there. Basically, this 2% weekly penalty is used for the amplifier auction pool. All right. The amount of Axion available for auction. So this is a very important feature to know. Okay, so this is about the auction itself. We've talked a lot in the previous about claiming your Hex2T and your Hex, claiming and swapping it to Axion. Now we're really looking at the daily auction, and we've talked about the penalties, some of the penalties that go into this auction. So each day an auction is processed for users to stake their Ethereum to get the Axion available in the auction. Axion available for the auction are pulled via 3 sources, alright? Majority from penalties. So from unclaimed Axion, every week 2% of the unclaimed Axion, both free claimed and Hex2T, are set out for the auction. This is shown on the platform as the late claim penalty. From late stake claim and early unstake penalties, alright? All late stake claim and early unstake penalty tokens are computed for the previous day and added to the auction pool. Alright. From Axion over the 10 million per wallet limit, maximum Axion claim limit per Hex wallet is 10 million. One can't claim more than Axion in their Hex over the 10 million. So if they have a higher balance, it will go in. All over limit Axion will be up for auction. Each week there will be a single day where these tokens will be added to the auction. So that helps to change the fluctuations that I was talking about earlier. So they'll be collected for that. So let's have a quick look at penalties early unstake. The staking feature allows the user to unstake before the committed timeline, although the user pays a penalty for this. Once someone initiates unstaking, the payout due to them is computed based on the days they were staked. Okay, so if you stake for 10 days or 50 days, etc., it's going to base that computation on that. Thus, the payout is their principal plus summation of payout they receive per day. So it's fairly easy to follow. Penalty is computed in the following ways. Penalty is a percentage of how early the user unstaked, so the time, how early you did it. Penalty percentage is number of days committed, days left. This is the total committed days, right? And example, let's have a look. A user stakes 100 Axion and gets 50 Axion as their share in the payout pools for the days they were staked for. The user commits to stake for 100 days but unstakes after day 20. The payout penalty is 80 over 100, that's 80% of the final payout. Alright, so the difference between 120, 80%, of the final payout. The final payout equals 20% of the earned interest and plus principal. In the above example, only 30 Axion will be returned, 20% of 150 Axion, alright, because that's the other 150. So they get 20% of 150 Axion return. All early unstake penalties for a day are tabulated and added to the auction pool for the next day. So that's quite large penalties in that case, you can see. So they the user stakes 100, and they get 50 Axion as the share of the payout pools for the days they stake for, which was 20 days. For 100 days. And so because they staked, they pulled out way early. Up to 20% they only stayed in. 80% of the time that they would have got for payout, they will actually be penalised against them. So the final payout will be 20% of the interest earned plus the principal. So you could lose your principal, which is what happens in this case. And so they only get 30 Axion will return out of the 150. So it's 20%. So that's high penalties. So you definitely want to stake for longer. Late unstake penalty. The system penalises the user for leaving their stake unattended after their committed period is over. So you've done your stake and you've got all your interest payment, but you haven't attended to unstaking it, to claiming it. There is a grace period of which post penalties are levied. The final payout is penalised at 0.143% per day, or 1% per week. So that's basically a number you want to remember. Example, a user pays a payout of 100 Axion available for claim, so that's your rewards for staking, at the end of 50 days, the stake period. The grace period, day 51 to 64, no penalty, so you got during initial time afterwards, so which is 13 days, you'll be fine. You can, basically 2 weeks, you'll get no penalty. But if you fail to claim your rewards, between days 64, the penalty will be 0.143% afterwards, alright? So just remember, just after 2 weeks, you're going to start getting penalised this amount per day on your rewards that you got for staking, right? Note, in about 2 year unclaimed status, the entire payout is lost, including the principal. So you need to claim. This is a very important feature. You don't want to get late unstake penalties. All late unstake penalties for a day are tabulated and added to the auction pool for the next day, alright? And they'll be redistributed to other users, assuming you've stopped staking. Transformation. Users can participate in the auction by staking their ETH to get Axion. For every auction, a set number of Axion are put up and users can pull their Ethereum to get these. A user's claim is equal to the Axion in the auction times the Ethereum they contributed divided by the total Ethereum contributed. Alright, so their proportion. Thus, the Axion they earn is dependent on their ownership of the ETH pool. Alright. So example, let's assume 100 Axion are available in the auction pool. Person A stakes 1 ETH in the auction, and the total of 10 ETH are pulled as the auction ends, so they've got 10%. As the owner of 10% of the pool, the person A will get 10% of the Axion 10. Alright? So 80% of the Ethereum deposited daily into the auction is used to purchase Axion, which directly from the exchanges, and these Axion tokens are then added to the payout pool for the day. Thus they are distributed to the stakers, which is a great feature. Multiple entries and exits into the auction. Entering an auction entails sending Ethereum to the contract function. All Ethereum sent during the given day is tallied, and any following day an exit function may be called to claim the share of the transformed Axion. Thus there are no late claim penalties for Axion claimed via the auction. It's possible to make multiple entries in a day, and the exit function shall allow claiming the entire amount in one transaction or in multiple transactions. So staking. Staking involves locking Axion into a smart contract itself. So that's basically what you're doing when the platform launches, okay? So you're going to claim your Axion, and then you're going to stake it, alright? Of course you don't have to stake it, but if you want to get good returns, you should stake it. During the stake period, one is not allowed to access the staked Axion. At the end of the stake period, the holder receives Axion plus interest. This is the payout. This works like the certificate of deposit facility, which is what Axion is, a certificate of deposit. Shares. Now shares are an extremely important component to understand, okay? A lot of people in Hex do not understand the share component and the impact that a return on investment has on it. Shares are important as payouts are drawn from the reward pool. More on this below, on the basis of shares held versus total shares in the reward pool. A payout for each day, Axion reward pool for the day, times the number of shares held by the holder divided by the total shares in the reward pool for the day. The shares received by stakers are dependent on the bonus multiplier and the share price. The concept of shares is the same as that of hearts, in particular in the snapshot mentioned above. More information on shares below. Alright, so hearts being the shares on Hex. Bonus multiplier. The platform rewards stakers which stake for longer. This is delivered by the bonus multiplier. Okay, so number of shares equals the number of Axion times bonus multiplier. So you want that definitely. Longer pays better. This is basic principle of certificate deposit design for gamification and high rewards. The idea is to reward users for staking longer. The longer duration for their stake, the more shares are given as bonus. The formula is days stake minus 1 divided by 1820. The minus 1 accounts for the minimum stake period of 1 day. So for each year, the bonus comes to about 20%. Stake for 365 days, there's 20% bonus, 730 days, 40% bonus, and so on. The bonus is capped at about 5 years of staking, or 1820 days, as one doesn't get any additional bonus to stake beyond 1820 days. Okay, so very important to know that. So the final calculation for bonuses is the shares equals Axion staked times 1 plus the bonus percentage, longer pays better. Okay. The share rate. Total shares issued equals Axion staked times bonus multiplier divided by the share rate. The amount that you've got staked times the multiplier divided by the share rate, okay, equals the shares issued. At the beginning of the platform, the global share is 1 and is designed to always increase, okay? So you can see that on the Hex platform as well. Increased share rate. The idea of an always increasing share rate, alright, is to benefit the stakers which were early to stake their Axion. As the share rate increases, the shares issued decreases if the staker is staked the same amount of Axion for the same duration. This is done to always make sure that the staker who stakes early has better return than the staker who came late. So it's important, the earlier the better for higher returns. Calculation and more shares for high return. Calculation of the new share rate. Every time a user ends their stake, they burn the shares they held. At this point, the platform runs an inverse share conversion function to calculate the new share rate. Right? The platform uses a payout penalty plus interest received at the end of the stake. So this is your return on investment. The duration of the stake and the number of shares destroyed as the stake ends to compute the new share rate. The new share rate reflects the rate at which a user gets the number of shares destroyed for staking all the Axion minted post to the end of the stake. Basically, the share rate, the return on investment that people are getting impacts the share rate. Calculation. Initially, a stake begins, shares equal input Axion plus bonuses, factoring input Axion and stake days divided by the share rate. Inverse calculation of the stake ends is the new share rate equals input Axion plus payouts plus bonuses, factoring input Axion and payouts and stake days. Okay, those are function stake days, bonuses, and these payouts, and divided by the shares destroyed. Result: if new share rate is greater than the global share rate, new share rate will be used as the global share rate. Thus, if the new share rate is higher than the current global share rate, the global share rate is updated. If not, it remains the same. Alright, so payout at the end of stake. At the end of the staking period, is what you really want to know. The smart contract goes back to each day of the term and accumulates the total payout as the sum of the year's share versus the total shares, okay? Times the payout for each day. The contract mints the required Axion and credits them to your target wallet. Users are able to stake earlier than the stake period mentioned, but there are penalties for the same. Users are also penalised for leaving their payout unclaimed after the staking period is over. So the payout pool. The contract accumulates the payout pool per day, and based on the shares held by stakes, this pool is paid out. Alright, these are the basics that you want to know, just getting paid. At the end of the staking period, the smart contract goes back to each day of the term and accumulates the total payout as the sum of users' total shares versus total shares times the payout for each day. The payout pool is made up of the interest rate based on the inflation rate, which was 8%, and the tokens to auto-bought from the exchanges using 80% of the Ethereum deposit via the auction. Alright, so the payout pool is made up of the interest rate, that's that inflation, plus the tokens auto-bought from the exchanges using 80% of the Ethereum by the auction. Alright, that's how the payout pool is paid. So auto payout to Axion holders. 80% of the Ethereum staked in the auction is used to buy back the Axion tokens via exchanges, thus increasing the value of Axion for holders. This Axion bought by the exchanges is added to the payout pool for the particular day and thus distributed to Axion stakers for the day. And I think it's a wonderful feature. The following is governed by a non-custodial immutable smart contract with set parameters for auto buyout from the exchanges and distribution by a payout pool. Very exciting. Although there is a vulnerability with the following model of 80% of the Ethereum go to buy Axion from exchanges leaves open significant arbitrage opportunities. So some of you may have asked that to yourself already, for users who may wish to gamify the system. Users will be able to figure out that the platform will buy Axion from exchanges every day, the timing. Thus they will purchase Axion from the exchanges themselves prior to that and sell once the 80% Ethereum is used to buy the Axion. The price goes up significantly. To control the following, the smart contract is designed to exchange Axion from exchange as soon as the ETH is deposited into the auction pool instead of doing all at once. So it's distributed over the period of a day, for example. Axion deep dive. So payout pool, the inflation component. The payout pool is filled with a daily interest of 0.021087% of the total coin supply. This comes out to 8% annual, compounded daily for 365. The total coin supply is computed as total Axion and shares in the holder's wallet. Alright, so the total coin supply is computed as total Axion and shares in the holder's wallet on the Axion platform. There are additional inputs to the payout pool discussed below. Big payday. Now, many of you are excited. You're always excited about interest and the Ethereum 80% Ethereum payout, but you also got the big payday as well as another incentive for staking. The concept of having big payday is to allocate the unclaimed airdropped Axion tokens to the stakers of the big payday, day 351. The token pool mechanism for each day after free claim Axion claiming process goes live. 0.2857%, 1 divided by 350 of the unclaimed Axion are earmarked for the big payday pool. As the day goes by, the big payday pool gets bigger as unclaimed Axion gets added. On big paydays, which happen once every year for over a 5-year period, all tokens in the big payday pool are added to the payout pool for that day. Stakers who are staked on that day are entitled to payout based on how much of the share pool they own. So the earlier and bigger you stake, the more of the share of the pool, the more of the big payday you'll get, basically. So the token division for the big 5 paydays. Big paydays are supposed to happen once every year for 5 consecutive years. The calculations for the amount of tokens distributed each year on account of the big payday are: year 1 will be 10% of the tokens that are distributed, 15% of the percent in the second year, 20% for year 3, 25% for year 4, and 30% for year 5. So wow. So some awesome stuff. Now with Hex, for example, Hex is going to pay out to 300% on the 19th of November, which will be a one-off big payday. So this is a different system to distribute it over 5 years. Pretty neat. And obviously the longer you stake, the higher percentage you'll get. Big payday eligibility. Only stakers which have been staked for periods of 350 days. So this is very important. You must be staked 350 days or be eligible for the big payday payout. Thus all users are incentivized to be staked. And this is a wonderful feature. And for a period of over a year. So at the moment 85% of Hex people are unstaked. Now many of those shares are also in the Origin wallet, but only less than 15% of people are staked on Hex. So this is designed to create an opposite of that, to withdraw the shares, the Hex from the Hex to so the Axion from the market. So very clever. Calculation of payout on big payday. Payout pool calculations for big payday. Tokens in the payout pool, right? Via the daily inflation and auto bought ETH and big payday tokens times 1 plus the critical mass bonus plus virality bonus. Referral program. So if you want to promote Axion, then do so. You can use the referral program. There'll be link generation. The website will allow you users to generate a referral link once it's launched in the next week or two. And the link basically contains the wallet address, that's your wallet address, and thus equipped to generate the share via the website. This is for claims related to the airdropped Axion. This sets a cookie in the browser for the person who clicks it, and the cookie merely states that the referrer's wallet is yourselves and is ready to be claimed, is read by the claim tool, and thus both referrer and the referee are rewarded. Bonus to the referrer, that's you, you're the person who referred them. The referrer gets 20% of the claim value made by the referee, inclusive of the late penalty. The bonus Axion is transferred to the target account. Bonus to the referee, the one who uses the link. The user who used the link gets 10% claim value, inclusive of the penalty. So some great incentives for increasing adoption and getting extra rewards. Example for referring mechanism: using the link. If a user makes a claim for 10,000 Axion, the referrer gets 20%, i.e. 2,000. The referee gets 10%, i.e. 1,000. Governance of smart contract upgrades. As the platform is run by smart contracts, there needs to be a mechanism to allow for edits or changes in them. Such upgrades affect the platform and users as a whole. There needs to be a community-driven governance mechanism to allow such updates. Axion mathematics. The initial supply will be 500 billion tokens. The inflation rate will be 8% annually, which will be 40 billion tokens. On average, that equates to 109.5 million tokens daily. Okay, so it gives you an idea of the supply of Axion tokens on the market. Penalty stats, alright, so that's Axion tokens too. Penalty stats: how much additional value will come from late claim, early withdrawal. In the HEX system, 500 million out of 250 billion HEX in the auction pool daily. That's about 1 to 500 of the total supply. This 1 to 500 metric does not account for the 50% of the tokens that Richard keeps for himself. That's just an assertion, so we don't know if that's 100% true. Meaning we anticipate 1 to over 250 of the Axion total supply will be in the auction daily from penalties. 1 over 250 is 2 billion tokens at 25% market cap. That is worth $1.2 million daily. So buyback stats: how much additional value will come from 80% Ethereum total buybacks. In the HEX system, 3 million of ETH enters the auction pool daily. In phase 1, with 25% market cap, that equates to an additional 750,000. Total amount of value distributed daily in phase 1 will be 1.2 million. 1.2 million plus 750,000 plus 65, that'll be 2 million daily. And the mathematics. So we will skip this. This is more for technical. If you want to check through this, you can read through this technical mathematics. Let's get straight to the Axion return. So the Axion return was the pool return on investment percentage over here, and the coins staked as percentage of supply. So the more of total coins that are staked, so if 100% is staked, you'd get 3.69 on HEX, which is what it is. You get 8% on Axion. If 1% is staked, 1% staked, you will get 369% on HEX, and you will get close to about 160% on Axion. Now, HEX at the moment is staked around here, so it's around 26%. So you can see that HEX is somewhere in this middle here, and Axion will be slightly lower than that, just on the interest. So that's just the return on interest part, not to do with the other factors, penalties, etc. So the expected return, what can an investor expect? One of the key differences between Axion and HEX is the inflation rate. With an inflation rate of 8% versus 3.69, this leads to over twice the returns for the year for the user, not combining the other improvements such as the buybacks, which will lead to higher prices, and this is a very important feature of this buybacks. The graph above is a rough estimate of how much more incentive Axion provides versus HEX based on inflation alone. So you can see the difference there. So Axion's in purple, so it's quite a bit different than HEX in yellow. Alright, so let's move on to the final section. Axion is HEX optimized, and this is a very key point. Getting 25% plus of the market cap of HEX with a strong, so 25%, so the community-driven first model is a very attainable goal. 25% of HEX market cap is 250 million market cap. After 15 days, our market cap is 6 million. Well, currently it's around about 50 million the last time I checked. Hitting moves around quite a bit, plus or minus 10 million. Hitting only 20% of HEX market cap is a 40x return on investment from there, 6 million. So still 5 to 10x from here just on price, but then there's all the other factors that you have to take in, all the other rewards that you have to take into account. in terms of your reward. So a very exciting future. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll leave the link below for to buy Hex 2T tokens, and also that you can have a look at this white paper yourself. I hope you enjoyed that talk through, and I hope I added a few little insights to certain areas between Hex and Hex 2T and Axion, so that you have a better understanding and background of the ecosystem, and with some fair comments based on my long experience in this industry. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and feel free to subscribe, like and share, and hit the bell notification, and keep posted to this Axion news, because we're about to launch one of the biggest projects for the next couple of years. So keep posted, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.